Hello, everybody. It's Indie Agency News, and let's meet an indie agency. Let's bring them in here. Oh boy, do I have questions for you. Oh my goodness. I have been looking forward to this one for since we kicked this off, and I'll explain to you why very briefly. I love design. I love typography. I love all this stuff. I will sit on under consideration, brand new, and just be completely honestly amazed. And it's the same way that I would approach somebody who plays a French horn in the London Symphony. I don't know how to do it, but man, do I appreciate it. So design folks, I'm just like, sign me up, because I'm just a little bit of more of a fan, less of a nerd. So welcome. Thank you both for joining us. Let's start with this. The name of your agency, when it was founded, and where you're located.
Oh, those are the easy questions.
Yeah,
So,
we're just gonna like glide into it, and then it gets progressively more difficult.
all right, we look forward to the difficult part.
There we go.
Name of the agency is Applied Design. We were founded in 2014, and we are located in New York City.
Okay, amazing. Now, what would you say that your agency is best known for?
You want to take this one, Craig?
Yeah, I think we're known for a few different things. Um, like one is really this experts with a beginner's mindset. Like we come at new subjects all the time, but we bring a lot of experience with us. So we're kind of very well known for that kind of mindset. And we're also known, hence the name Applied Design. We're very pragmatic. So we're very much about the way our ideas appear in market. So bring that experience to be able to execute things super well. So we kind of have this balance of strategic thinkers, but also experts at executing. So our ideas are kind of in one way conceptual, but they're highly practical. And then when they get to execution, they're highly executable, because that's what we do, right? We're practitioners. So usually those things are kind of separated in a design agency, but they're not for us.
Right, and I think that this points to obviously some core strengths that you have as an agency. One thing that you noted is accessibility. Talk about that, because that's such an incredibly important aspect of what we all do in this industry writ large, but also very specifically in design. Talk a little bit about the accessibility side of it, because I think it's important to continue to keep talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, we define accessibility. There's two components of accessibility for us. There's accessibility, which is bringing things to people regardless of how they interact with them. And then we also really work with clients to bring access to things, right? So there's accessibility, which is what we did with Braille Institute in developing Atkinson Hyperlegible, which was a font that was specifically designed for people with low vision to be able to aid them in their day-to-day life, to really kind of like allow them to read more easily. And then there's access, because we do a lot with public transportation as well as healthcare, about actually making that customer journey better for people to be able to get to the services that they need. And in the case of healthcare, sometimes that's, you're in a very high stress situation. How do you design something so that you don't have to be worrying about that when you're trying to deal with the care that you need to receive? Or in the case of transportation, when you come out onto a platform and you're trying to find your bearings, you don't have to worry about the wayfinding, so that you can kind of enjoy the moment and get quickly to where you need to go. So the two are part and parcel. The one feeds the other, and it's always been at the core of what we do, because the genesis of the company was really, our first clients were healthcare and transportation clients.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. You're right, because in a lot of ways, those are high stakes, high impact environments. And I have to imagine that so over time from when you were founded, what did you learn during the process of that you look back on and go, well, we were good at it then, but we're great at it now? What's that path been for you? Because again, this isn't about necessarily things becoming easier, but it's more about gaining the knowledge and gaining the experience and the wisdom to understand where you can get to a better solution more effectively and efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, what we've learned is that we're not great at it, that we're learning every single day. I think when it comes to accessibility, if you make the assumption that you are an expert or you're like perfect at it, it's when you stop learning what it is that you need to do or what the next consideration is. Because with every new building that opens or every new technology that comes on the market, even with very, very, very considerate design around access and accessibility, there might be something new in that environment that needs to be tweaked. So, I would say 10 years ago, and I don't want to speak for Craig, but we talk about this quite a bit. Our position was very much of kind of enforcing the will of design onto the project.
Oh,
you're like, you come in with a preconceived notion, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. This is how we're going to solve for that. You develop it, you test it, off it goes into the world. And partly the reason why we founded Applied was we were working on the project for the World Trade Center, and that project was anything but that, right? We thought we were going to go in with this specific idea, and it immediately, our hat was handed to us, right? Because of the magnitude of the project, the number of stakeholders. And that's when we really realized, like, what's amazing is when you start to listen and you check your own ego and your own preconceived notions at the door, some pretty truly remarkable things can come out of that.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of look at ourselves almost as facilitators to be able to.
I love that. I love that. Craig, what did you want to add there?
Yeah, I was going to add to that I think that's the thing we learned, right? Is like listening is such an important part of the process. And as creative people, you're kind of always jumping to ideas. The thing I think we learned or have been learning, but started with the World Trade Center, is this idea of like, don't run off with your first kind of thought. As designers, we're always, as I said, going for the idea, but you just have to hold them back for a little while till you listen more. Because listening is so important also in the selling in of good ideas. If you can show you've listened, then it shows that those people's ideas are in your work, and it's much more persuasive as a final result. It's actually a better result, not just more persuasive.
No, I love it. I love it. Let's go into why you love being an indie. Why is being an indie important to your team and also to your clients?
I think if you had to sum it up in one word, is autonomy, because that unlocks the door to so many things. You have kind of control over your own domain. You can choose how you want to go about projects. You can choose who you hire, how you want the studio to be. So many things are kind of unlocked by autonomy.
Brad, anything to add there?
Autonomy, 100%.
Okay.
I think maybe the thing that that we'll probably get into this more later, but it's not just for Brad and I. It's autonomy for everybody in the studio.
Right.
So it cascades down to everything you do. It's very powerful.
Right. What also cascades down is the noise. We're cascading up in this case because the dog sees something outside. And if you can hear in the background, that's our beloved 4-year-old golden retriever. Oh, the timing of this. See, this is why we're indie. We just know things are going to happen like this, right? So it just happens. It just happens. I'm always curious. There's the front door of an agency, what you see. I'm always curious to know what brands should know about working with you. What is the main reason that a brand should work with your agency and with your team?
It's a really great question, and it's hard to not sound cliche.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's advertising.
Well, it's advertising and design, right? I think the thing that people need to understand, or when working with us, or I think really any independent agency, is we have a stake in it, right? We aren't in between the holding company and the client. like is often the case with some of the larger, agencies that aren't independent. So your success is truly our success because our business doesn't exist without your success.
Right.
And in doing that, there's a couple things that happen, which is we want to advise you. We want to listen to you. We want to see your business to be successful. But we also have a pretty strong voice in giving you the recommendations that we think are going to help your business go forward. Because we not only want your business to go forward, we want our business to stay in business.
Right.
So when you walk in the door, it's kind of interesting. When I was in the large agencies, because both Craig and I came out of the large agencies.
Okay. Got it.
I put a barrier between my personal life and my professional life. And it was kind of a strange artificial barrier. I don't know why I did it. I think it was just because, you're working for somebody, you're working for the agency, plus then you're working for the client. So it's kind of like a brokered relationship in some cases. Although I loved my clients, it was always kind of like this mental thing. And then once we started Applied, that barrier went away. And all of a sudden, the clients weren't just clients, but they were business partners. They were friends. They were people that we wanted to spend our days with. They were people that we wanted to work hard for.
Sure.
Not that we didn't feel that way at the large agency, but it was just amplified, right?
Right.
And I think when people come to work with us, they need to understand that point of view comes into it. Because we often hear people you guys are you're on all the time, or you're so passionate about it, or you take it so personally. And we're like, yeah, we do, because we have to. Right. And it's important to the process, and it's important to our longevity, and it's important to the longevity of our clients.
Yeah, makes total sense. Let's shift over to talent. And I also have a bonus question that you didn't realize is coming in a little bit here, by the way. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Why should design talent in particular put your agency on their list of places to work?
I think the answer to that is probably mostly the way we work. We, as Brad said, we came out of big agencies. It's very structured. I got my beginnings in small agencies, and I loved the entrepreneurialness of that. It's kind of scrappy. You're designing 1 minute, you're cutting pieces of paper the next. There's no kind of barriers between people doing different jobs. We're kind of all in it together. And I think there's a kind of a culture that comes with that is very beneficial, that people really enjoy. So our staff that we have, they love working with us. They've worked with us for quite a long time. And I think it's because they feel like they're in it with us. We're all in it together. And you can't really fabricate that. It sort of comes from maybe the independence. I mentioned autonomy before. We tried to give our people autonomy also, which is, as leaders, is very difficult to do. It's not a comfortable thing to hand over control to someone.
Right.
But you get the best out of them that way. That's where they thrive. They love their job. They love the work they do because they really feel like they have a stake in it.
Yes. Where in Scotland are you from?
I'm not sure you can tell because my accent became so mid-Atlantic, or maybe even more American. But I'm originally from Scotland. From Edinburgh.
You're from Edinburgh because you went to Edinburgh College of Art. That did. Part I know.
Which is funny because it's I went to the design school in Edinburgh College of Art, and there were only 10 designers in my year. So I kind of came out of Edinburgh College of Art more as an artist than a designer, more of a thinker than a practitioner. So.
Got it. I proudly worked for the Drum, based in Glasgow.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, there you go. Brad, any Scottish history in your world?
Not really.
Okay.
Just the name, right?
Just
your name's Scott,
right.
But I am the Scot.
Right. Right. Yes. All right. Here's the bonus question. Then I'm going to get to the last question. What is your favorite font? Yeah. The easy answer is always Helvetica.
Yeah, Helvetica is nice. I mean, I would be wrong of me to say anything other than Atkinson Hyperlegible because we worked so hard on creating that font. But that's not why I love it. I think I love it because it does a job most font, in fact, all other fonts don't really do well, which is it makes it more accessible. It breaks a ton of typographic rules to be as legible as it is. There are, you know, parts of fonts that shouldn't really be all in the same style, but it still looks beautiful. But the main thing is it functions really well in being easier to read for everybody, but in particular for people with low vision.
So what's the font?
The font is called Atkinson Hyperlegible. I mean, it's got
Okay.
a kind of tricky name because it's
Right.
hyperlegible.
Right.
And we created that by sort of evaluating which parts of fonts were difficult to read, along with our, at the time, our client, the Braille Institute. So we had access to people with low vision.
Right.
We tested a boatload of things. It was an amazing experience. But more than anything, it just felt great to make a font that had that kind of impact.
I love it. Brad, you can co-sign on this, by the way. If you want to agree, that's fine. But your favorite font?
I'm going to have to say Atkinson Hyperlegible as well, just because of the blood, sweat, and tears that went into
it.
Yeah. It's I'm very proud of it. And I like it because it's a little bit, as Craig said, it got into things it's a little defiant, believe it or not, because we kind of disregarded some of the traditions of typography to be able to make it more legible.
Yeah,
I like it, but I also make the joke too. It's kind of like somebody asked me, like, "What's your favorite beer?" And I always say the one in my hand.
Right, there you go.
So, so I'm also just a huge fan of typography that works well in whatever the given environment is.
Yeah. Well, I will say defiance is a Scottish trait, so that's good. I like that. Yes, indeed. All right, final question. We've had a chance to get to know you, get to know the agency, get to know the work, get to know your philosophy. Whether it's a marketer or a CMO that you're working with or not, who do you want to say hi to? Because we want marketers and CMOs to say, you know what? I think I want a little of that. So who would you want to say hi to?
I would like to say hi to Roger Harris of Amtrak.
Woo!
He's not the CMO. He was a CMO, but now he's much higher up than that. But we would love to do and meet anything to do with the United States Railway.
Oh, please, for the love of God, please. Yes. Craig, and you?
I think I would second that because we love transport so much. Like, I'm going to double down on one name just because that's how much we want to speak to someone like that.
Right. We'll find out who the CMO of Iron Brew is, and we'll have that discussion. So that's fair enough. Well, Brad, Craig, thank you both so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time. This is fascinating. I definitely want to bring you back when we have more design discussions, because I think that we got this little kernel of something. I think talking about the font that you developed and some more around accessibility, that's a topic we definitely want to be covering a little bit more. So let's call this not goodbye, it's see you later, but best wishes for continued success, and we'll certainly be doing a lot more with you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.